Reporting within my Apiary, because what's the point of collecting mounds of data if you can't turn it into addressable insights? Here we're looking at our graphical reporting dashboard, which summarizes many of our reports. Here we can see a number of reports covering from our reporting dashboard through to job statuses and tasks that haven't been completed, through movement, task history, observations, and costs. And the information we're looking at here is a very typical Southern Hemisphere season, New Zealand beekeeping season, where our primary cropping time is November through to early January. In this example, we can see that most of the hives have been rated as weak coming out of winter, and then as they go through the spring build-up, you can see the growing percentage being rated as strong as we go into the honey pollination season. On the right-hand side, we can see the number of honey supers that have been deployed through that spring build-up, and then the dark orange is the number being harvested in any given month. But the most valuable data when it comes to monitoring and adapting management practices is the data we get from our observations. So if we click on the hive deaths, for example, I can see, this is after the spring round or first spring round, we can see the primary reason for death in this case is chilled hives, and about a third rated as varroa mites. Once you collect this information and you can see the trend in your business, you can start making changes to your management practices and then track that season after season. And this is the same for disease. Here coming out of winter, we're seeing predominantly chalk brood and requeening. If we click between the different peaks, where the primary reason for requeening in the spring round is replacing old queens, and I've got a few different diseases where in March we're seeing it's more filling in holes and patching up drone layers and a few little queen problems. With our reports, you can dive down into the detail, and these are downloadable via CSV. Reporting by date range. Here we're just purely looking at requeening, but within our observations report, we can look at reporting on disease, deaths, requeening, flora, and varroa. If we select varroa here, we can see our varroa wash levels for each yard throughout the season. Looking at our movement history report, again, for a given date range, you can see all the hive movements, so where we've moved hives out of, where we've moved hives into, and then where we've used our move site. Job card, where we have a source and destination, we can see the number of hives that have moved directly between sites, or where hives have been moved in or out for different reasons. Where here you can see some hives have been moved, 2 hives have been moved out for AFB management, and quite often hives might be moved out for when making splits, etc. And another real useful report is our site cost report. With our site cost report, we can see all the input costs into a site and compare the sites. So we've got our consumable costs and our labour costs, depending on how accurately that's been recorded. So if we click into a site, we can see here again for that same period all the consumables that went into the yard and all the jobs that have been done. I hope that gives you a good summary of the reporting and data insights you can get out of my Apiary.